It's trade time, bringing you some buy low, sell high players heading into week 3 fantasy football. Starting off with player number 1, it's going to be Tyreek Hill for the Miami Dolphins. And Tyreek Hill drafted him with probably a top 3 pick in your fantasy football league. 26 points in week 1. In week 2, only had 6 fantasy points. Now, 6 targets, 3 receptions, 24 receiving yards. Just doesn't really cut it for Tyreek Hill. But the thing that we do have to understand is Tua Tagovailoa goes out with a concussion, and we don't know if Tua is even going to play football again. So there's a lot of concern. There's a lot of worry around Tyreek Hill. The thing I know is as much as I don't think Skylar Thompson's a good quarterback for the Miami Dolphins as a backup, there are some decent free agents out there, Olah, Ryan Tannehill, Olah, Tom Brady. I'm not saying that Tom Brady is going to leave the booth to go play for the Miami Dolphins, but I will say that I think the thought of them having Skylar Thompson for the rest of the season is not appealing. And so I think they're definitely going to have to address it, whether through a trade or something of that nature. So I wanted to show you some trades that are currently happening right now for Tyreek Hill. And when we start to take a look at these top level trades, we got this first one. We got Tyreek Hill and Jaden Reed for Mike Evans, David Montgomery, and Khalil Shakir. Give me Tyreek Hill and Jaden Reed. We got Kyler Murray and Rashid Shaheed for Tyreek Hill and Aaron Jones. Give me Tyreek Hill side. We got Tyreek Hill for Devin Singletary and Garrett Wilson. Give me Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill for Jonathan Taylor. Give me Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill, Chris Olave, Jalen Warren for Jameson Williams and Breece Hall. JMO is playing pretty good. I give you that. But give me some Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill and James Cook for Tyler Montgomery, CMC, and Nico Collins. Give me the Tyreek Hill side. So I think what these trades show is that you definitely need to be buying low on Tyreek Hill, because I think that overall production on the fantasy football field, we've seen being healthy is one of the best things you can have right now. And Tyreek Hill's healthy and he's an elite level asset. Definitely have to be trying to buy low after the Tua Tagovailoa news. Second buy is going to be Jamar Chase for the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, Jamar Chase, with these talks with the Cincinnati Bengals for his contract, really have hindered his overall fantasy football success up to this point in the 2 weeks of the season. 12 fantasy points in week 1, 7 fantasy points in week 2. So a lot of people are concerned, oh my goodness, I dropped a top 6 pick on Jamar Chase. Why is this happening to me? Why is it not being elite? Let's not forget, it took the Bengals a little bit last year. They had a slow level start. You also have the defenses being able to key in on Jamar Chase because T. Higgins has been out. So hasn't really been a lot of great things to point to for Jamar Chase. And I know a lot of y'all are thinking, hey, I might need to sell off of Jamar Chase right now. Right now is the time to do it, because otherwise, what if he continues to put up stinker after stinker after stinker? We start to see some interesting deals for Jamar Chase. We got Jamar Chase, Jaden Daniels for Josh Allen and Drake London. Well, Drake London, this offense for the Atlanta Falcons, I don't know if it's ever going to get humming. Josh Allen is a QB1, but Jaden Daniels has been performing as a top 6 QB. Jamar Chase has the upside to be a top 5 to 6 wide receiver on a points per game basis. Give me Jamar Chase and Jaden Daniels side on that deal. We can look at Devontae Smith and Travis Etienne for Jamar Chase. That's probably going to be a little bit rich for me. As much as I think Travis Etienne we're potentially a little bit worried about his overall workload and this Jacksonville Jaguars offense, I potentially lean that side, but like that's going to be the have to package for me to trade away Jamar Chase. But like I said, a lot of these are going to be some buy lows. We got like Jamar Chase traded for Geno Smith, Jerome Ford, Jameson Williams. Give me that side. We got CeeDee Lamb traded straight up for J.K. Dobbins and Jamar Chase. If I own CeeDee Lamb and I'm able to trade him away and get a guy like a J.K. Dobbins who's looking like a league winning running back, as well as Jamar Chase, I like that tier down. Jamar Chase for Jaden Reed. That's an interesting one. Give me Jamar Chase side. Austin Eckler and Jamar Chase for Stephon Diggs and Rashad White. Give me Jamar Chase and Austin Eckler. Like the list kind of goes on. So I think you definitely need to be considering Jamar Chase as a buy low trade candidate. It's not just because I'm from a Cincinnati Bengals fanboy. I think a lot of exciting things are to come for Jamar Chase. You just need to be patient. We talked about being patient last week with Marvin Harrison Jr. Be patient with Jamar Chase. We move on to the third player that you're going to have to be patient with, and this is going to be Chris Olave. And maybe my Ohio State bias is coming into play. 3 fantasy points in week 1, 13 fantasy points in week 2. And the thing I want to talk about with Chris Olave is the fact that Derek Carr, we talked about him as a must-add player to your team in the waiver wire department because he's been a top 3 QB in a points per game basis. This offense is absolutely cooking for the Saints. They just did it against the Dallas Cowboys, but Rashid Shaheed has kind of been all the talk, but Chris Olave has slowly been silently been going under the radar. And so when we're looking at trades going for Chris Olave, a lot of interesting deals. We look like Sam Laporta and Chris Olave for Jalen Waddle here on 9/16. Give me Sam Laporta and Chris Olave there easily. We got Breece Hall and Jameson Williams for Tyreek Hill, Chris Olave, Jalen Warren. We talked about this in the Tyreek Hill trade. I'm 100% taking that deal for the Chris Olave side. We got Ramondre Stevenson, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed for Aaron Jones and Deebo Samuel. That trade looks even better now that Deebo Samuel's hurt. But even if Deebo Samuel was only going to miss 1 week, I would still be taking that Chris Olave Olave side. We got Chris Olave and Jameson Williams for Dak Prescott and Brandon Ayuk. Give me the Chris Olave, Jameson Williams side. We got Dak Prescott and Chris Olave for Aaron Jones, Deontay Johnson, Brock Purdy. Give me Dak Prescott and Chris Olave. So I think Chris Olave is another guy that we 100% need to be trying to buy low because this offense is absolutely cooking. He's arguably the best wide receiver in the offense. I know a lot of people are probably going to be hyping up some Rashid Shaheed, but Chris Olave, definitely be targeting him. I think there's a lot left on the bone for him in the coming weeks. My fourth player that you need to be trying to buy low right now, and this honestly is not even going to be a buy low. I just think a lot of people that maybe own him don't realize the potential, but it's going to be talking about Brock Bowers, who's the number 2 tight end right now in fantasy football, drafted in the top 15 picks of the NFL draft to the Raiders. Brock Bowers came in as an absolutely generational prospect, and he has started his career off that way with 11 fantasy points in week 1, 18 fantasy points in week 2. Listen, 8 targets in week 1, 9 targets in week 2, had 9 receptions, 98 yards, and he has yet to score a touchdown, but the volume is so freaking good, and he is not getting on the field all the snaps. Like, there's still room for him to grow in this overall offense, and we're already seeing tight end 2 numbers. Like, I think Brock Bowers, before people start to realize that he's the next Sam Laporta, you 100% need to be targeting some Brock Bowers here in week 3. And I understand it's maybe not a buy low. This might just be a straight buy for Brock Bowers, but I think you need to target Brock Bowers in that way because he is just going to be that dude for you the rest of the season. When we start to look at some trades, Brock Bowers, Justin Jefferson, Jahmyr Gibbs for Kelce, Godwin, Ayuk, Chris Olave, Bijan Robinson. Holy camole, that's a huge freaking deal. But I think you can make the argument for really either side. I like the Bijan Robinson. I mean, Bijan and Justin Jefferson kind of mixed match, so you could probably say you need to be taking that right side, but Jahmyr Gibbs and Brock Bowers, man, I think a lot of people are underreacting to that. Xavier Worthy, Jared Goff, or Jaden Daniels, Brock Bowers, especially if you need tight end help and Xavier Worthy's maybe on your bench, give me the Jaden Daniels, Brock Bowers side. Bowers for Ramondre Stevenson, Brock Bowers for Drake London. We got 2 of those. Brock Bowers traded for Sam Laporta. I think someone was willing to buy into the Brock Bowers hype. Brock Bowers for Jordan Atkins and Devin Singletary. I think the thing is, like, there's going to be people in your leagues that don't understand the potential that Brock Bowers is currently providing to you. So you 100% need to be going and trading for some Brock Bowers. Now, talking about some sells, we always hate to say that because I think right now with all these injuries, it's hard to say, yeah, you 100% need to be selling that player, Caleb. I just need healthy guys on my roster, which is 100% the fact. I have a team with T. Higgins, Jordan Addison, Deebo Samuel, AJ Brown. It's just not looking good on the injury front. But the guy that we're first going to be talking about selling is Rashad White for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 16 fantasy points in week 1 and only 3 fantasy points in week 2. He did have 10 attempts, 18 yards, and had 1 total reception. Now, this was really game script dependent with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and this Detroit Lions defense. Detroit was getting after the quarterback, was absolutely pressuring Baker Mayfield all over the board. But I think the worry with Rashad White is as we go, Bucky Irving continues to take more of the snap share. And so when we're starting to look at some deals that you could potentially do to, get rid of Rashad White, we see more and more that there's some deals to be had. So we talk about like Rashad White getting traded for Austin Eckler. So you're going to say to me, Caleb, like I don't want to sell Rashad White for that. And I hear that. But like, let's see this. Let's go down and let's say Stephon Diggs. We talked about this trade earlier. If you could pair Stephon Diggs and Rashad White and tier up to get a guy like Jamar Chase, that's a deal that I really want to do. If I trade away Rashad White and CJ Stroud, do I want Baker, DJ Moore, and Tony Pollard? That's a pretty interesting deal, especially with how Baker Mayfield's been playing over the first 2 weeks. Rashad White and Josh Palmer to get to Puka Nacua. I knew Puka Nacua is dealing with an injury, but if Puka Nacua comes back, week 6? Can we float our roster without Josh Palmer's on the bench and Rashad White? Interesting. Rashad White for JSN after that JSN amazing performance. Rashad White for Isaiah Pacheco, probably not doing that one. So someone probably got fleeced and didn't know the status of that. If we scroll down even further, we got this J.K. Dobbins, Devontae Smith, Rashad White for Derrick Henry and Tyreek Hill. That's an interesting deal that I would like to do. So I'm definitely exploring my options with Rashad White as we head into week 3. I have bought into a bunch of Rashad White, and I think the volume just isn't going to be there this year. He's going to need some major volume to just achieve absolute status. He's not super efficient on the ground unless he gets those touches. Definitely looking to sell some Rashad White. The second guy we're looking to sell right now is Travis Kelce. And Travis Kelce looks absolutely washed. And I'm not saying that as a guy that I own a ton of Travis Kelce. I was telling you, hey, 3rd round Travis Kelce. He's looking like the tight end one this year. You had to draft him in the 1st round last year. Get him in the 3rd round this year. It's not looking good for Travis Kelce. And I think he can definitely turn it on. I think he has the ability to turn it on, turn it off. Travis Kelce just seems to be just chilling because you got Rashee Rice eating, you got Xavier Worthy eating, and Travis Kelce isn't really needed in this overall offense to be efficient. But when we're starting to look at deals going down for Travis Kelce across the board, they don't all look too appetizing to me. And so maybe we should make the argument that Travis Kelce is a buy low. And so we'll just say this as we're looking at trades, that there's some trades here. Like when we're looking at Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill for George Kittle and DJ Moore, like goodness gracious, give me the Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill side. Travis Kelce, Tank Dell for Dalton Kincaid and Brian Thomas. Like that's a pretty lateral move. But like Travis Kelce for Nick Chubb, I'm not selling him for that. Travis Kelce for Jake Ferguson, Anthony Richardson, I'm not selling him for that. But if I can add him to a package, let's say like this, where I can sell Travis Kelce and go get like a Jaden Reed and a Brock Bowers. Or I could go trade a Travis Kelce and Yoshi Vosh for Stephon Diggs and Ken Walker. Like those are deals that I'm looking to do currently on my roster with Travis Kelce, because you did draft him really early. But right now we need to get in and out of these tiers, and I'm just a little bit worried about Travis Kelce's overall production heading into the rest of the season, which I think is 100% fair. And talking about our last guy that you need to potentially be looking to sell, it's going to be DeAndre Swift. And this isn't a video of me saying, hey, you're buying these guys low, you're selling these guys high, because DeAndre Swift, his overall value is 100% not there. But this Caleb Williams-led offense is not starting off as hot as we wanted it to be. And 5 and 8 fantasy points over the last 2 weeks for DeAndre Swift, who he's had a 66% snap share. So we do like that little bit for DeAndre Swift. I just don't think this is going to be enough for us to really rely on that in our RB2 spot rest of season. So when we start to look at overall trades, we start to see that there are some decent market values that we can go get for DeAndre Swift. We look at like DeAndre Swift, Amon-Ra St. Brown traded for Tank Dell and Bijan Robinson. Give me that Tank Dell and Bijan Robinson slide. We look even further down the board. Like we see Isaiah Pacheco got traded, but we're assuming that happened before kind of the injury news. DeAndre Swift and Zay Flowers for Jamison Williams. After Jamison Williams, the way he's been playing, and especially with Amon-Ra St. Brown being off the next few weeks, I'm interested in that. DeAndre Swift for Jerome Ford. Interested in that deal. DeAndre Swift for Amari Cooper. DeAndre Swift for T. Higgins. Like we start to look at deal after deal after deal that I'm liking for DeAndre Swift. And I think that to me says we can pivot out of our DeAndre Swift shares into shares that we like a little bit more. I'm not saying that you're getting absolutely killer value on DeAndre Swift right now. I'm just saying that we're looking at trades. Those are some trades that I am liking. So if you like fantasy football, hit that like and subscribe button. On the way to 3,000 subscribers, answering every trade question down below, answering every start sit question once you're here in the community. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.